Hey guys, Kev here, and we have 3 petrified fish on the table. I have the Mini Beluga in this black wash with red G Mascus in 14C28N. I have the big dog, the full size in G10 and K110 steel, aka D2. And then I have the Zero. This is the newest petrified fish, and yeah, I have these two in on loan from the homie Backpack B. Absolutely love Brent. He's a great dude. I have done a rapid review on the full size before, so I probably will just briefly cover it because I'm reviewing the mini here, and I wanted to obviously be able to show comparison, and yeah, so that's how we'll do that. And then I have the Zero. So let's start with the Zero, and then we can kind of work our way to the Belugas. So White Mountain Knives sent this in as a loaner, which is awesome. Big thank you to White Mountain Knives. You can use my code LeftyEDC at checkout for 10% off and free shipping in the United States. So the Petrified Fish Zero is a very odd knife to me. It's kind of cool in a couple of ways, and it's sort of not cool in a couple others, in my opinion. I like what they're doing here, though. So overall, I want to kind of say that I like the idea here. The execution maybe wasn't perfect, but you know, that's kind of how it goes, and I like that they're trying something different. So real quick, because I do have the specs available here, I have the website up at White Mountain Knives, obviously. I am going to run through them for you guys real quick. So this is the Petrified Fish Zero folding knife, black titanium with black G10. It's in 154 cm. It was $78.99 on the website. This one is out of stock currently. Let me check if any of the versions are in stock. Yeah, so the brown titanium one is in stock. So basically, it's the same, as far as I understand. Is this brown G10? It's hard to see. To me, it looks like the same knife I'm holding right here. Let me see the other side. So what it looks like is the black G10 on this side. This is all the same, except for this is black titanium or brown titanium on this side. So you have brown titanium here. Clip is still black. Hardware is still black. This side is still black G10. At least that's what it looks like. And then the blade is still a looks like black wash, but it's kind of a DLC type look. So that's the one that's available, $78.99, which, you know, that's pretty good price for 154 cm and titanium and these materials. I mean, if you think about it, Finch knives are 130, and they have steel and 154 cm. So you got to give them a little credit there. So overall, 8.07 inches in terms of overall length. Here is the Ritter Hogue right here, the RSK, whatever the hell it's called, MK1, whatever. I just thought it was a good size right there. Basically the same size. That's pivot to pivot. If I go tip to tip, it's basically the same size. Then we have the Protec Malibu. Put that right here. And you can see it's a little bit smaller than the Zero. So it's kind of in between those two guys right there. Blade length 3.54. Blade thickness is 0.138. Blade material 154 cm, plain edge. And that's pretty much all you get. 59 to 60 HRC is pretty standard. Handle length 4.53, so this is 4.53, and it weighs 3.46 ounces. So there's your specs real quick, guys. Sorry, I know I don't usually do that, but when I can, I try. I mean, you might as well get the specs. It's easy. So aesthetics, I'm not a fan of this right here. Petrified Fish 2021. Then you have this pattern here. Then you have PE here. Then you have a little bit of billboarding right here in terms of the model number and the steel. Then you have this pattern again, and then another logo here. It's just a lot of, it just seems like a lot of billboarding in my opinion. So yeah, not my favorite. But I do like the overall silhouette of the knife. It does kind of have a Finch devil's finger look. That blade has that devil's finger look. That might as well just be called a devil's finger blade shape, because it really does look like the finger of a devil, if you know what I mean. Pardon the Band-Aid. I got messed up today by this here little slip joint. I normally don't just cut myself, and normally it's not really bad if I do. If I do, I just kind of nick myself or something. But I was on the phone while fidgeting with this. I was actually on the phone with my partner from Devo Knives, Colin Mason Pierre, and we were talking about some stuff, and I just was fidgeting with this, and somehow I closed it with this finger in there. I don't even know how I did that, but I felt it go in, and then I was like, ah! And then I'm like running to it was a whole mess. But it was dumb. I think I did that, and then I like stabbed myself here with it after. It's pretty sharp. It's honestly a really good knife. I'm digging it, and it bit me, so now it's definitely mine. Very good package opener. Anyway, I don't even know why. Oh yeah, the Band-Aid. So anyway, devil's finger blade shape, basically a drop point of some sort, I guess, or clip point. Comes down to a very dainty sort of tip. But it's got a nice long blade, nice and slender. You can get down for utility cuts with it. But overall, the silhouette's cool. I just don't, I like the concept of having this unique sort of scale that thins out, and then the other side is kind of like, I don't know, it's just weird. You can see the backspacer here. But in practice, it just doesn't really look good, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't like all the billboarding. I don't really understand these symbols here. I don't know if they're supposed to be like, it kind of reminds me of the PlayStation symbols. I don't know why. So, yeah, I mean, whatever. And I'm not the biggest fan of just blacked out knives in general. I do like it sometimes, but I would have preferred if they had an option for satin. That's the only thing. Like, just give me an option. I might pick the blacked out one, but give me the option, right? Ergonomics. They are sort of odd. Again, because of this whole situation, it just feels different than most knives, right? You just don't have a full-filling grip. You feel all these bumps and transitions and knockoffs or fall-offs, whatever you want to call it, edges. It's not quite uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to do like hard work with this, but you guys know me. I'm not doing that anyway. So it's fine for normal EDC, I think. And you do like a Finch again, you get this sort of like flipper choil deal going on, and it actually is pretty comfortable in that grip. So as long as you're not like doing long sessions of cutting something, I think this is perfectly comfortable. You know, it's a little bit pokey back here if you're kind of landing with your thumb where this sort of spot is, or, you know, there's some spots, but it's not like terrible or anything. The jimping up here is, you know, basically not there. You don't really put your thumb there, and if you do, you don't really feel it. Flipper tab jimping is very well done. You can see it there. So, yeah, ergos are okay. Definitely not great. I'd probably put it at like a 6 out of 10 if you had to make me rate it. Cutting. So we talked about this a little bit with the blade shape and the way it's designed with that dainty tip. It's not made for anything hard use style. Again, I think it's good for just normal utility cutting. I think it'd be great for cardboard. It obviously cut paper well. It's a relatively thin blade. I mean, it's a 0.13 something stock. So it's not the thinnest, but it has a good grind on it. The flat grind starts right here. I really have no complaints with the blade for my sort of tasks, like the shipping labels. I actually really enjoyed this tip because it's so long and slender and dainty. It does a great job penetrating through paper. Now, It's not the best because of the length. It's a little bit long for that, right? And again, it kind of does that thing where it's in my wrist here, and it's a little bit, it makes it hard to have great precision. You kind of have to climb up here and use so for that, not great, but it does work pretty well. So yeah, I mean, cutting, I don't have the most experience with it, so I don't really want to go saying one way or the other, but I think it's definitely good for EDC tests. And I think most people are buying these knives for just EDC, right? We're not buying these knives to hard use them and abuse them. And some people are, and that's fine. But I think a lot of us are just buying these because we think it's another cool knife, and we have multiple knives, right? And then when we actually do something heavy use, we have a couple knives that we use for that specifically, if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are probably in the same boat in that, but that's kind of my situation. And you guys know that by now. I clearly state that in every review. I state my experience completely. But again, yeah, like I have certain knives that I use, for when I actually do some kind of harder use stuff, like this Asher Nomad 2.0. I've used a lot for yard work and stuff like that. I don't really have a lot of hard use tasks to begin with. So anyway, that's cutting. Carry. This clip is a bit stiff, guys. I didn't want to go bending it or anything, but it's one of those poppers, I call it. Kind of like my Field Duty EDC, except the ceramic ball on that makes it a little bit better. Like this does the same thing where that ball pops over your jean, like the seam, and then it goes in your pocket easy, and then when it comes out easy, it catches, pops over. But this ball makes it a very smooth transition. It doesn't feel kind of janky. Where this, that sort of point right there is catching when you're going in and out. And then the rest of the way, it's really smooth. So it just feels kind of janky, like you're really just being held on by that little point. But it does work. I mean, I think most people would be fine with it. Clips are really important to me. It's kind of an underrated thing. If a clip sucks, I really don't like a knife. You guys know me. I find a lot of things that I don't like about knives, and that kind of kills a knife for me. And that's kind of how I keep my collection from getting out of control. But yeah, so the clip's not great, but definitely, serviceable. It is a 3D milled clip. It looks cool, that's for sure. This whole lock side really looks better than the show side, in my opinion. Much cleaner and everything, and having that inset lock, just makes it work really well. Sounds. So it's okay. Pretty decent on the open. Decent thwack. And then on the close, it's a little bit muffled, but it's pretty good. Nothing crazy. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Nothing bad, nothing crazy, right? Okay, so action. This is where this knife, it has broken in since the unboxing, where it was very easy to fail. And I still can do that, but I'm kind of pinching it there, right? You see how my finger's kind of dragging with the flipper tab? I'm basically forcing that. If I pull the flipper all the way, it pretty much locks up every time. Yeah, I can still kind of fail it. My issue isn't really with the fact that I can fail it like that. That's sort of me cheating. It's that because of that lighter detent, I don't get a good thwack out. It's not satisfying to deploy. And I need a knife to feel satisfying. I want it to go, right? And I want it to lock up. It just makes it feel better. It's a better experience when that happens. This knife is the PMP Big Boy I reviewed. And on this knife, I can also fail it, right? It's not the strongest detent. Yet, it thunders out when I pull that flipper tab back. When I give it a nice solid flick, it just really hammers out, locks up, has a very satisfying feeling to it. This one, it just doesn't. It's a little more muted. Now, I will say, since the unboxing, I put some, I don't even know, I might have done it in the unboxing. I put a little bit of KPL in the bearings. a little bit of heavy on the detent ball, and it's definitely better. I mean, it's probably twice as good now in terms of that satisfaction factor, which is important because a lot of us are buying these knives mostly as, you know, just an EDC tool and a fidget toy, right? Like I'm being honest here. Most of my knives are around because I like to play with them. Right? Yes, I love cutting with them when I need to, and I want them to do well at it. But the fidget factor is a huge factor in the knives I like, right? And I think a lot of people don't want to admit that, but it's true. You don't have to be the knives or tools and that's all they are guy, right? You can be the fidget guy and still have your knife for EDC stuff, and you don't have to feel ashamed about it, you know? Ooh, just learned something. Ooh, that just made this knife so much better. I feel like there's people out there lately that are kind of trying to make us feel lesser, like a lesser part of the community because we don't abuse our knives. And to those people, I say, go fuck yourself. We use our knives as much as we can and as much as we want, right? It's our money. We're spending it on knives. We're going to do whatever we want with them, right? And nobody should feel ashamed for what they do with their knife or don't do with their knife. If all you do is fidget with them and you never even use them, that's up to you. You spent the money on the knife, right? And it is a knife, so you're part of the community. Like it's a very weird thing. Just something I've noticed recently. Anyway, the action on this with that flipper tab is not that satisfying. But now that I just realized you can reverse flick it left-handed, ooh, that's awesome. Because of that black wash blade, you can get a good grip on it, and that weak detent, it works really well. Now, right-handed, you're not going to be able to do that because you're covered up by that frame side. Look at that. And on this side, because of this thin strip of G10 scale, it's exposed. And you can flick it out. So, lefties actually have a huge benefit on this knife. Now, righties, you could thumb roll it out. You could probably thumb flick it. You could thumb flick it, but everybody knows you want to be the reverse flicker, right? So that's going to piss off a lot of right-handed people that we can reverse flick this knife. So if you're left-handed and you were thinking about getting this one, yeah, I guess that's a big benefit to it. But overall, the G10's just a little bit light, and it is primarily meant to be a flipper. So it should be a little bit stronger. Closing action is really good. I mean, it's almost drop shut. It basically just requires me turning the knife and maybe a couple shakes, but it's super smooth. It's dropping shut. Definitely excellent there, but a lot of that has to do with the weak lock bar pressure. And here's a look at that lock bar. You have good lockup, and I love this inset lock. It's very well done. It's a little bit like unfinished. It's just flat right here. There's no jimping or anything for access, but you know what? It works perfectly, so there's really no reason for it. So I can't really complain about that. I just want to point that out. So overall, the Petrified Fish Zero is an interesting knife. I like that it exists. That's really the best way for me to put it. I like that it exists because it's doing something different, you know, this exposed backspacer, thin scale kind of thing, titanium on the lock side, G10 on the frame side with, you know, an inset lock. It's just a little bit different in my opinion. 80 bones, I think it's a good value. So I really have no issue per se with the knife. I wish the detent was a little bit stronger. I wouldn't hard use it because of the ergonomics and the dainty tip. But again, we're not really doing that anyway. People buying this knife. Yeah. And I think I said the detent was a little light. So those things kind of would keep me away from buying it personally. But it is a pretty cool knife, and you have that lefty reverse flick. So if you're left-handed and you're into this, check it out. You do not get a reversible clip, though. So just want to note that. That is the Petrified Fish Zero. So let's talk about the belugas, all right? 20 minutes in. So I did review the full-size beluga before, and honestly, I hated it. It's a big, heavy, bulky knife. It's very blocky. It's got these blocky corners. It's just not for me, guys. I thought the front flipper was kind of pokey up here, and if you missed it, it was kind of unforgiving. The one I reviewed, the detent was very light. This one is much better. The detent on this one is dialed in. It's okay, guys. It's not the worst knife in the world. It again, ergonomically for me, when I squeeze down right here, it kind of bites me right here, and it's just not comfortable. But it's a decent knife. I get it. It's $47. Like, come on, right? You get G10 and K110 for $47, and you get a huge amount of it. I understand why it's popular. I don't understand why it's this popular. But anyway, it is sold out right now on White Mountain Knives. This version, I believe, was $47. It's 8.35 inches overall, 3.62 on the blade, 0.154 blade thickness. It is K110 steel, aka D2. It's Bowler's D2, basically. Blade width is 0.134. Wait, what? How could the blade thickness be 0.154 and then the blade width be 0.134? I think they meant this is 1.34 inches, maybe? I don't know. It says 0.134, to ignore that. Plain edge, 58 to 60 HRC, and it weighs 5.6 ounces. That's a killer, man. That's a lot of weight. And you see how I missed that? That hurt. So that's why this one's not really something I like all that much, but it is fun. It's reverse flickable, all that stuff. You know, it drops shut. It's a cool knife for $45. I totally get it. I'm just not blown away by it, you know? So enter the Mini Beluga. And when Brent got this, he's like, dude, you gotta check this out. The Mini Beluga is freaking sheeshy as hell. Sheesh, right? You know Brent, love him. And I was like, ugh, like, dude, I really don't want to check it out. I didn't like the Beluga at all. Like, I shat on it. And he's like, nah, dude, I'm sending it to you. Like, you got to check it out, bro. Right? And that's how he talks, by the way. Just saying, brah. I love you, brother. Sheesh. So he sends it, and he's like, I'm sending the Beluga with it so you can have a comparison. I'm like, God damn it. He's just sending me two knives I don't want, right? And I get this knife, and guys, I fell in love almost instantly. I truly love the Petrified Fish Mini Beluga to the point where I want one. Like, they're out of stock right now on White Mountain Knives, so as soon as they come back, I'm getting one, or I'm getting one somewhere else. I mean, this version, the G-Mascus ones are like $53.99 on White Mountain Knives, right? They come in red G-Mascus with this black stonewash. Then there's a green G-Mascus with like a bead blast, I think. Hold on, I'll look it up. The green G-Mascus is it says sandblast. It kind of looks like a bead blast, though. I have an orange G-Mascus with the satin blade. Sorry, bead blasted blade. Then they have a black G10, just standard black G10 with a sand blasted blade. That's $48.99. The G-Mascus ones are $53.99. There's a yellow, like full yellow G10 with black blade. That one's $48.99. And then there's this one with the red G-Mascus and the black wash blade. It is 6.8 overall. It is 2.99 on blade length, 0.11 blade stock, 14C28N. That is super important and such a clutch move on their part. Black wash finish, 58 to 60 HRC, like everything from China. Ceramic ball, blah, 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 blah. 3.37 ounces. That's a big difference coming from almost 6 ounces or whatever on this one. And I know it's smaller, duh, but having a lighter knife is just nice, guys. And this one's milled out, really milled out. I guess this one is too, but didn't feel like it. Anyway, aesthetically, this thing looks better. Just this knife was made to be this size, in my opinion, because it's smaller all around, right? It makes it feel less blocky because it's actually thinner, right? It's a shorter knife. It just makes everything feel better. I don't know if they knock the edges down more. It doesn't feel like it, but in hand it does. This is supremely comfortable in my hand. So I think this was just too tall for my hand, right? And maybe people with huge hands really love this because this one fits my hand like a glove, guys. It's absolutely outstanding. I love the reversible clip. They both have that, which is cool. It mounts from the back like this, which is awesome. Yeah, it's just a dream, honestly, ergonomically. I'm actually a big fan of this Damascus. I mean, if you're going to give me something for $53, I mean, shit, this looks awesome. It really... What it does is it makes it feel more special than G10. Because I hate G10, guys. And it feels the same. It's the same finish. But this just feels more premium. Like, it's kind of like the Wingman EDC Mach 1. It has that sort of pattern in the G10. It makes it feel more premium. It almost makes it seem like it's carbon fiber. And, I'm a sucker, so I'm buying it. You know what I mean? Like, I do. I think it looks better and feels better. It just makes the knife better, in my opinion. Some people might think it's corny. I get it. If I can get the green Damascus with the stonewash blade, I'm in. But anyway, you have the PE Pivot Beluga on the clip, a little bit of marking here, and then the model number and everything there. I like this side. It's cleaner, a little bit better. This is a lot of bit of billboarding, but, you know, what are you going to do? Again, ergonomics are fantastic. The cutting, this thing has an excellent blade. You heard that 0.11 blade stock, nice and thin, has a flat grind that starts high up. It comes down to a pretty thin edge. I mean, it's probably not going to be like some uber thin knife, but you know, I'm not a measurer of behind the edge, so I don't know. I can just feel it, right? It feels thin, so it has a good edge on it as well as being a little bit, you know, being on the thinner side. It did everything I wanted it to. I use this knife a lot. I carried this for like, how long have I had this? Maybe 5 days a week, and I've carried it every day. I swear to God, I love this knife. I did not want to take this knife out of my pocket. I wanted to carry, like, I went to a meetup to meet some dudes, and I brought this knife to show them because I freaking just love it so much. It just happens sometimes, right? This is by far my favorite budget knife I've handled in a long time. And again, it cuts really well. It does all the stuff I like to do because it's small. I can get to the tip and do the shipping labels real nice. It got into packages real easy, opened up boxes, cut cardboard, very minor stuff, but it did it all flawlessly and like a dream, you know. It's easy to take it out of pocket, flip it out, do your cut, close it, and be done, right? Just awesome. A lot less cumbersome than this one where it's like, I gotta take this chunker out. You know, I gotta flip this huge blade out, and then when I want to close it, I gotta, you know, I don't know. It just seems like a lot more work than that, right? That's why I like smaller knives a lot. I like bigger knives too, but mostly I like, you know, something around 3.25. 3.5 is usually like the top for me, you know, in terms of blade length. Carry is excellent. I mean, again, lightweight, small, thin package. I mean, it's not uber thin, but it's thin. You know, it's not super tall. Has this fuller that's perfectly designed to be flicked, but it doesn't stand out of the blade like a spidey hole. Just awesome, in my opinion. You can reverse flick it from anywhere, so I guess let's skip to sounds real quick. I think the sounds are excellent. It has a nice quata. I mean, you could hear it just thundering. That's what I mean by satisfaction. It's just satisfying to flick that. You compare that sound to, and it's just like, you know? So sounds are excellent on this. I give it an 8 out of 10, maybe a 9. It's really good. The action, guys, is absolutely incredible. It really is. I do wish this front flipper tab was like the full size. It's not quite as tall as the full size one is. But it's good. It actually works. Sorry, it's the first time I missed it. It actually works really well. I actually missed this one more than I missed this one. And I think part of that is just your hand size. Like, my hand naturally, like, it's just not in a perfect position to flip this one. Where this knife, it's just right there. And it just feels comfortable to flick it. It's a little bit harder to do the tricks like this stuff because I can't grab that jimping very well. I can do it a little bit right-handed, but honestly, it's not like... Yeah, it's just not for me to do with this one because of that flipper tab and the size of the knife. So you have that front flipper. I wish the jimping went a little bit further up and around. But I say that on almost every front flipper these days. But it does work pretty well. But that would have helped with this whole kind of rolling your finger thing. Sorry, the color is all off on this right now. I don't know what's going on today. But yeah, it's a thwacker on the front flipper. I've never tried to do a reach around, so I can't talk to that or speak to that. Now, you have the fuller. I will say I've missed it before where I just, because it is pretty tight to the scale. But honestly, once you get used to it, you just got to try to make sure you're up in this cutout. It makes it a little easier to get to. If you're too low, like down here, it makes it harder, but you can still get it. And that, being a fuller all the way down or blood groove all the way down, means you can ring finger it. You can even, if I get it right, you can pinky it out. I mean, then you can use your thumb to slow roll it. You can use your thumb to flick it. I mean, you can easily 5-finger this guy. And it's just a pleasure, And then on the close, drops to your nail, smooth shake down. I did put a little KPL in the bearings and heavy on the detent ball, and it really gave it a little bit more smoothness. It's really dropping. Couple of shakes and she's down. Obviously, the big dog is going to drop shut more. It's just a bigger, heavier blade. But this one, honestly, is more satisfying all around. I love this knife. This is easily my budget knife of the year for 2022 already. So, I mean, sorry, it is the top spot for budget knife of the year right now. I didn't mean to, crown it already. But I think it's going to be hard to beat. I just really like this knife, and I want one. So, I want one of those green G-Mascus ones with a bead-blasted blade. That's what I'm going to be looking for. And hopefully I get one. I do think the detent could stand to be... Nah, you know what? It's perfect. Detent's perfect. So yeah, that's the Mini Beluga, an outstanding EDC knife, fidget toy, just does everything really well. Here's the full size. I guess if you have huge hands, it kind of relates, right? So if you have large, medium, small hands, I think this one's excellent for you guys. If you have large XL, 2XL hands, this one's probably going to be good for you. And those are probably the people who really like this one. So that's the Beluga and the Mini Beluga and the Petrified Fish Zero. We're not going to, I guess we'll call them rapid reviews, but it wasn't very rapid. You know me, guys. I just like to get all the information out there. So I love you guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments about these, what I'm wrong about, what I'm right about. Anything else you want to talk about. I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.